So a lot of people, they think a lot, and people say, okay, what's wrong if you think? I mean, you can think, no problem. But what I would say is every thought is an expense. Every single thought. The thought can be simply that, tomorrow I want to have McDonald's. Very simple thought. Or it can be, I want to invest $20,000 in cryptocurrency.
Okay.
That's another thought.
Yes.
So the thought can be anything in between. That's an expense. So when I say expense, something is going out.
Right.
So people are not calibrating or not seeing what's going out. It's just like, okay, they're just thinking it has become a habit to think. But then we have to understand thinking is not cheap. Thinking is not free. It is taking away the mass of your life.
Right.
I'll tell you, let me explain why I'm saying the mass of your life. Is, when you're thinking, when I say expense, something going out, not something, there are typically at least 5 things going up.
Okay.
Yeah, every thought will kill these 5 things or deplete these 5 things. The first one is it will take your time. Whether it's a burger or $20,000, you're thinking about it, so some time is gone.
Hello, beautiful souls. Welcome back to the Limitless Show. Many a times in our lives, we feel like we are in a black spot, not able to see ahead, no hope, no clarity. But if we persist enough, we find that it's only a dark tunnel and that there is light on the other side. All we need to do is keep working on ourselves internally and externally. And with consistency and focus, we can get anywhere. So, this exactly is my endeavor with the Limitless Show, to be able to get you loads of hope and clarity so that you can understand that your options in life are as limitless as your imagination could be. And I do that by bringing on people who are doing stuff that sparks their soul. So your horizon also gets expanded to lead a no holds barred life. Today, my guest is Mr. Anant Kasibhatla. Anant is a second generation focus and memory coach, having 26 years of experience in training over 3 lakh participants from 50 different countries. He started at a mere age of 17. His prestigious clientele includes Royal Family of Malaysia and Royal Malaysian Army. From an early age, his core studies and work centered extensively and exclusively around mind skills like focus, memory, learning, speed reading, creativity enhancement, and mind mapping. He is the Limca Book Record Holder for memory, and that hasn't been broken in the last 2 decades. He has also trained the world's youngest national memory champion. He is also an author of 2 books and was also a professional stage magician. So we are talking now. So let's bring on Anant and find out more about him with a warm round of applause. Hey, Anant, thank you so much for joining me here.
Thank you so much, Anshu, for inviting me here. And very good evening, everyone. Hi, hello, how are you? Yes.
Great, Anant. So, apart from being a focus and memory coach, being a magician on stage is something, that kind of tickled my imagination. And I was wondering, okay, what does Anant do?
In fact, there's an interesting part. So I was a stage magician. So I started my magic when I was 8 years old. So I did until the age of 16. So that was a kind of crossroad for me, because that was the time I have to decide whether I want to pursue magic as a career or do something like focus and memory, which I always wanted to do as well.
Right.
So magic has been my first love, of course.
Wow.
So that's why crossroads, and me and my dad has a very good conversation, which actually gave me a lot of clarity. Also, he said something very powerful. He said, "Hey, look, if you become the best magician in the country, people will say, oh, you do magic like Sarkar."
Right.
But if you become a memory expert, people will want to do what Anant does,
Anant will be a legend, yes.
Absolutely. So that's what actually triggered my imagination. I said, yeah, this is what actually it's all about. So that was where I started, and no looking back. And now I'm very happy that there are a lot of people come back to me and say, oh, I can do something like what you can do. And, I've trained people to do some interesting stuff about memory. So now I still do magic, but not on, on the public forum.
Right.
So I always introduce myself as a memory and focus coach. But then when they're close enough, I do some magic for fun, actually. Yeah,
Amazing. In more close knitted circles and
absolutely.
private communities.
Exactly.
Amazing. I would want to experience that someday.
Yes, sure.
So, Anand, tell me, I mean, you started at the age of 17, which is like a very tender age, right?
True.
We don't even have youngsters who have clarity of what they want to become and what exactly is, their path. What made you so clear about following this path and becoming a focus and memory coach? What is the background behind this clarity?
Okay, so the clarity was it was not like to become a focus and memory coach,
Mm-hmm.
but then to pursue memory as a hobby.
Mm-hmm.
So me, my dad, my brother, all of us were into this. It's like a family hobby.
So
we
your father was already a
Yeah.
focus and memory coach.
So he was helping people on memory stuff and all the things, but it was
Mhm.
not like officially there's something on, but there's
Mhm.
always some kind of a guidance which my dad used to give to his colleagues' children and his colleagues as well.
Okay, so unofficially.
Yeah. So he's been reading stuff. He was a journalist earlier,
Okay.
so he's very much keen on self-help kind of stuff, and
Mhm.
that's where he got this idea on working on memory. And me and my brother were like, okay, like you can call us a guinea pig. So we were he was giving some kind of techniques, and we were practicing that, and it was fun actually. So it just happened that we liked the concept very much because and when I say we, me and my brother also liked the thing. And my first idea of getting into memory is only one simple thing: look, I can do something which you cannot do, just as a
Right.
show off mechanism. That's it.
Mhm.
Nothing more, nothing less. I can do some, because at that age people will always want to be better than somebody else. So
Right.
I was like, okay, I can remember a 20 digit number those days, like that, just like wow kind of a thing. So that's
Mhm.
where I started. And then we used to do a lot of programs around in schools. We used to get invites and some interviews kind of a stuff. And people used to always ask a very interesting question: when did you realize that you have got this kind of a memory?
Mhm.
So actually, it's not a question about realization. It's a pure skill which we have practiced.
And developed.
It's not that one day I wake up and I say, oh, I can remember stuff. No, 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 no,
Right. Right.
nothing like that. It has been trained. I've trained myself, and they said, oh, it's trained. So I said, yeah. So can you teach us? Of course, why not? So then
Mhm.
people are, why? How do you do that? And then I started talking about it. Me, my brother, dad, everybody. And interesting part was those days there was no professional speaking skills trainings which were very active, and I
Mhm.
didn't need any of that that time, because I was simply telling people what I do. Look, this is how I remember stuff. So it's like pure heart to heart communication. What I
Mhm.
do, I'm just putting it forward. So I didn't need any other skill other than that clarity. And
Mhm.
people started getting benefit, and then the word spread, and people started coming out, reaching out to us, and that's how it has happened. And then people said, how much do you charge for conducting a workshop? It's like, huh, really? So my
Right.
first conversation, I still remember, isn't it unfair and cheating that you go and speak and you collect money? No, you just go and speak and then you take money. It's not right. You're just speaking.
Mhm. Mhm.
That was a kind of background which I came from. Like, we don't come from a background of business. It's like education kind of a background. My mom was
Yes.
a teacher, my dad was a government employee.
Mhm.
So the mindset was different. But then it was like, wow, people actually pay for this.
Right.
And then the best thing I would say is your hobby paying you,
Mhm.
so you can't ask for more.
Yes.
If your hobby becomes your profession, then you're on
Nothing. You
holiday all the
found your
life.
ikigai. Yeah.
Absolutely. And I would be doing the same thing if I don't get paid also. So
Mhm.
that's another advantage which I had, actually. So that's where it started, and no looking back from there. Yeah.
Amazing, amazing. So it was pretty, I mean, as you said, you were just practicing it initially for fun to show off. And then people started getting benefited and, use the assignments started rolling out.
Absolutely.
Would you like to share one of the, maybe some example of a client who
Mhm.
you were able to really, pull out from a difficult position that they were in, and through this training you were able to get them out of that difficult situation, or how it benefited?
Okay. So before that, let me just state what I do. So there are
Hmm?
few things which I work on, and primarily, okay, initially I started with memory as my core skill.
Hmm.
I would say I'm a hardcore memory expert. So what I mean by that is I can actually remember anything, no matter what. You just give me stuff, I can remember it, and I can also make people remember anything, whatever they want to remember.
Mhm.
Facilitate them. So I've got examples like I have facilitated somebody to learn Spanish without me knowing a single word of Spanish.
Wow.
Yeah, and the teacher got surprised that how can you learn so fast? But he was using my techniques, and there's a girl in Pune. I've helped her to learn German, facilitated. Again, I don't know any German, but I've helped her in focusing and learning. So this is about the memory part. And then I think last about 13 years, I started working on focus as a core offering, because I realized that focus is more important than memory.
Right.
Because if you have focus, everything starts falling in place, including memory. So that's where I started deeply working on focus. And the other one which I always worked on is reading skills and learning skills. So I very proudly say that I don't deal anything other than this, and I don't leave anything in these four topics. So coming back to the ideas on how I have helped people to focus, I have worked with almost, you name a profession, probably I have really worked with them, because 26 years and sticking to one niche is like a very very long time. So the recent one I can tell you, like there's a lady from Gurgaon. She's preparing for a competitive exam. So this is especially for judiciary exam.
Right.
And one of the things which she was getting through was like they have to read a lot of stuff.
Right.
And then in spite of all this 6 to 8 hours of reading, she is not able to absorb a lot. I mean, this is a story with everybody. And there's stress, and they can't retain for a longer time, and they got after a couple of session conversations. So she was like, okay, now the anxiety has gone down, and I'm able to concentrate better and absorb more. So technically what I tell people is that you can actually get extraordinary result in probably half the effort and time which you normally put in. Now why I can say that, or why I dare to say that, is because when we apply our mind on something, things will really really get fast. I mean, we can get things done faster. The whole challenge which people are facing as a generation, I would say, and again, no offense to anybody, is that the attention spans have gone down drastically.
Drastically, yes.
People can't even stay put for a couple of minutes without think of something. Like you may be one. I mean, you might actually be amused to know, or maybe you might have seen people like as a conversation happening, somebody watching the show, maybe thinking why the colors are like this. Oh, this guy's voice is like Pankaj's brother's voice. Oh, this guy looks like I've met him somewhere.
Right.
When they're actually going through something, the mind is continuously working on something else. Sometimes it's related, sometimes it may not be related.
Yes.
It can be, oh, tomorrow I have to go to Lucknow, so what time I have to leave from house?
Yes.
So that's the kind of thing happens. And because of that, people have a lot of issues which happen. So once you can be in the present moment, as in once you're able to focus on whatever you're able to do, you will get very good results. And I always say, as a part of my training, or one of my best quotes which I feel is that only in the present moment you will have unlimited and uninterrupted access to yourself. So if you're in the past or in the future, you will lose the access to yourself. A lot of times people say, okay, it's just a thought kind of a thing. It's just not a thought, it is everything. Like, for example, I'm talking to you, you're listening to me, I'm listening to you, and let me tell you, in my perspective, this is life all about. That's all about.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
So life is happening as we are talking. But then if I'm thinking, oh, what should I present for my Indian Oil training program? Tomorrow I have a meeting, so okay, whom should I talk to first? If I'm having that kind of a conversation, I'll be totally missing the present. And then later I go back and say, okay, no, Anshu was asking something, I don't remember, maybe something wrong with me. First of all, I have not even paid attention to, I have not been here. So this is the challenge which people are facing. And once that is settled, I've got a lot of results, like people's driving got better, people's anger got lowered. In fact, I have I cannot directly say that it's a kind of a medical application, but then people have stopped also using blood pressure tablets, at least a couple of them. But I am not a medical doctor, but then the result came in, because when you're able to control your emotions, when you're able to manage your mind, things will start falling in place. So interesting things happen. You don't get upset easily. So you're balanced. Now when you're balanced, there are a lot of things which will accrue, and a lot of things happen. So the people who actually could remember names of there's one guy from Delhi again. So we have got some training program, and one of the feedback which he's got is he met 17 people in some kind of a deputation came in, And he said that first time in my life, I could actually recall all the 15 out of 17 people, 15 people along with their names. So that was like, hi, my name is Pankaj, I'm from here, my name is Priya. And that's like an introduction conversation. But then when he was back, then he was able to remember 15 of them, which it's according to him, it's like a shock for him that he could actually remember.
Right.
So because when you can apply your mind, things are actually limitless. You can do a lot of stuff.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
I agree. So that brings me to my next question is I also understand one thing from this conversation that what you are saying is people are able to focus and have better memory when they are less stressed out, when they are less anxious.
Absolutely. So, I mean, this will actually bring one very interesting factor that your stress and your focus cannot be on the same platform ever. If one goes higher, the other has to go lower.
Yes.
If stress goes higher, the focus will go lower.
And the memory will automatically decrease.
Everything else will go down. And
Yes.
if your stress goes lower, your focus will get higher. There's no doubt about it. So, as a focus and memory coach, what I would actually ask people to do is, I mean, stress management is all very good idea to work on. But then if you can actually work on focus, you'll be able to get the result much faster, because the very fact that you're working on the focus will push the stress down, and you'll also get a productivity as a bonus. But if you're just working on stress, so it might be stressful to work on stress.
So I was assuming actually while speaking to you, I mean, listening to you, I was thinking that, okay, maybe Anant is then first, asking people to meditate and reduce the stress and, some such things, and then working on the focus. So it's not like that.
No, it's not like that. And in fact, let me tell you, there are people who come from various fields and various ages kind of thing. Now, people who have come to me have reported that their meditation has gone to the next level because they use my strategies. I promote meditation. I've done Vipassana twice. I meditate very regularly. And I promote people to say, hey, go and meditate, which is a very good idea. No, I'll tell you the challenge which comes with people, is that somewhere they listen that, you have to meditate, which is a very good idea. Even I'm saying, go meditate. Okay, so they have this thing that, okay, we have to meditate for about 40 minutes or 25 minutes, whatever. They bring an amount of time and they say, let me meditate. Unfortunately, for many people, what exactly happens is they do 2 minutes of meditation and 30 minutes of frustration.
Yeah. The mind is all over the place.
Exactly. And then they are messed up and say, why this thought is coming when I'm meditating? No, my back is paining. Oh, tomorrow I have to go and meet that guy. And they are not practicing meditation actually. And
True.
They hardly meditate for a couple of minutes. But then when people focus back and learn how to focus and they come back, instead of 2 minutes, they're able to go for 4, 5, 6 minutes.
Right.
Where the meditation quality will improve. And having said that, I have a lot of respect for meditation, and it's the next level. It has got a lot of other benefits. So there's objective, Now people say, oh, if I meditate, will my memory improve? The answer is a big yes, of course. But then it takes a very long time through meditation.
Yeah, because you're not able to actually meditate. If you're really meditating, then it will be fast.
Absolutely.
As you said, but when you're sitting, our mind is all over.
Absolutely. So when you can start bringing yourself in the present, everything, including meditation, also will be better.
Absolutely.
That doesn't make focus lower or higher or meditation higher or lower. So they are at their own place, but then focus will aid everything else in life. So, I always tell people that if you have the luxury of only working on one skill, you should work on focus. Because no matter what you're doing in your life, you may be simply mixing coffee, performing a surgery, driving a car, making a sales presentation, or talking, making your pitch in a Shark Tank. It doesn't matter. If you have a good focus, you will get things done. You will not be distracted, and you'll be able to deliver or bring out what you really wanted to or intended to. The chances are very, very high that way. So if I am not focused, even though I have got all the ideas, so I'll just get distracted. So that's the reason why having focus is the most important thing according to me. A good focus is a massive, massive value add.
Absolutely. So did you actually have anyone who was about to pitch in the Shark Tank come to you and ask for help?
Not yet, not yet. But this is actually pitch for them. Come back to me. Because I've got a lot of people, but the people who have gone to the Shark Tank, not yet. But then yes, maybe, who knows? They need all the focus on the planet, because what happens is every thought can disturb focus.
Yes, totally.
So if you're in such kind of a tight situation, if you're having better focus, you can actually manage better.
Yes.
In fact, there are a lot of presenters who have done my programs, and then they go and say, "Oh, the delivery was awesome," in spite of people having conversations and asking unrelated questions. I did not lose my cool, neither I lost my content. So that is what happens when you really stay put with yourself.
Yes, being in the present moment.
Being in the present and being able to access yourself, that's the best thing which can happen for any activity which you do.
Yeah. Absolutely. Finally, that is, I think, what we are looking for. Everyone is looking for that. Absolutely. Being able to access our highest potential in every moment.
True. And that can only happen.
It sounds spiritual, but we are spiritual beings, and that's exactly what we want to do every moment.
Absolutely. So there's always a kind of conversation which comes in. So is it spiritual? Is it that? I say, okay, let me look at from the mind's perspective. So if you want to go ahead in a spiritual journey, even then also focus will be useful. But then the mind has to be comfortable. You have to take care of your mind, and being in the present will actually help having a good deal of activity which you can do with the mind when you're in the present. So journey you can actually put up and you can take, and the kind of perceptions, it can be any perception, but at the end it's the same. It's just a perception. Okay, it may be termed as spiritual or whatever thing, but then at the end of the day it's working with your mind.
Yes. So Anant, if I ask you at least, what are the top 3 things you would tell the audience to develop that kind of a focus and memory, what would you say to them if they have to take away something from here?
Okay, so before that, I would like to share one very important concept that will be greatest takeaway, and from there the other takeaway can happen. Will that be okay?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, so a lot of people they think a lot, and people say, okay, what's wrong if you think? I mean, you can think, no problem. But what I would say is every thought is an expense. Every single thought. The thought can be simply that, tomorrow I want to have McDonald's. Very simple thought. Or it can be, I want to invest $20,000 in cryptocurrency. Okay, that's another thought.
Yes.
So the thought can be anything in between. That's an expense. So when I say expense, something is going out.
Right.
So people are not calibrating or not seeing what's going out. It's just like, okay, they're just thinking it has become a habit to think. But then we have to understand thinking is not cheap. Thinking is not free. It is taking away the mass of your life.
Right.
I'll tell you, let me explain why I'm saying the mass of your life. Is, when you're thinking, when I say expense, something going out, not something, there are typically at least 5 things going out.
Okay.
Yeah, every thought will kill these 5 things or deplete these 5 things. The first one is it will take your time. Whether it's a burger or $20,000, you're thinking about it, so some time is gone.
Yes.
And then it takes your emotion. Burger is also associated with some emotion, and $20,000 also associated with some emotion, right?
Right.
And then it also takes your mental space. Burger occupies a little bit of space, and $20,000 occupies a space as well.
Yes.
And then it occupies your mental energy. Burger also takes away some mental energy, and $20,000 also. And more than anything else, it occupies your focus.
Right, because whatever is there right now in front of you, from that you're taking the focus off to what you need to do.
Absolutely. And all these 5 things are limited in nature. Your time, emotions, space, energy, and focus, they are not unlimited. You're only given this much of it.
Yes.
Maybe this much, or maybe this much.
But whatever, but limited. Yes.
So that's not limitless.
That's not limitless.
So to become limitless, this limit has to be used in a proper manner.
Right.
Only then we can become limitless. Now, why I'm saying this statement also, let me explain. Now, whatever you consciously want to do, It can be you want to become a marathon champion. It can be you want to write some music chords, new compose new music, or it can be anything for that matter. Do you know what it takes? Apart from all the things it takes, this takes this 5 things as well.
Yes.
It takes your time, it takes your
Yes.
emotion,
Yes.
it takes your energy, it takes your
Yes.
mind space, and it takes your focus.
And
So if
some creativity,
yeah,
at least.
so those
Yeah.
all things are added.
Yes.
So these are the 5 core components which are required for you to do anything consciously.
Yes.
But unconsciously, this is being washed out every moment of our life.
Yes. Because of unwanted thoughts,
Because
which
of
are not
unwanted thoughts.
required in the moment.
Yeah. And just because, as we said, because it's available, people think. So, I'll tell you, like, there are a lot of times, people eat food not because they're hungry, but because it's available. All right?
Correct. Correct. Absolutely.
And let me put it in the mind frame. People started consuming information not because they need it, but because it is available.
It's available. I agree. I agree. There's
seen-
no dearth of information, and hence, because of the abundance of information, we want to take this up, lap this up.
And FOMO kicks in, and everybody wants
yes.
everything.
Oh, yes.
And the most amazing part which happens with the mind, and why you have to be very careful. This is a real example. You might have seen this kind of thing happen in a different level in your life, but this is a real example. Okay, the names are different, but the example is real. So this one of the guys invited me for a lunch. So I went in. So we had a little bit of chit chat, and then it was like a family lunch, and there are people sitting there, and I am an outsider, right? Even though they have invited me, an outsider, right? I don't belong to the family. I'm a visitor, guest.
Yes.
So I was on the table, and there's this guy who says that, Priya is totally wrong. She should not have done like that. And then the other lady picks up and says, why do you always pick on Priya? Is Rahul right? He has done this. See, that kind of thing happens every time. And they're conversing and people pitching in there. I was like, oh my God.
And
so
you were on
I was
the
sitting
lunch
dining
table.
Yeah, I was on the
And
dining
in
table.
front of you, all this is happening.
All this happening. So I was like, oh my God, this is not a right time.
In front of you, why?
It's not a good idea. So I simply finished very fast and said, hey, sorry, I actually missed out. There's a call. So I'll just sit in the main hall, make my call. Is it okay? And I said, yeah, go ahead. And the discussion continued. I adjourned to the different room. I finished my meal very quickly and sat down there. And my friend came in and asked, hey, Anand, you finished your meal fast. What happened? Because I enjoy food, actually. Then I said, well, I think we'll catch up some other time. I think it's not a good time to be here. So I'll quit. And then, some other time I'll join in. No problem. We'll have a good time. So he says, today's a good time. What's the problem? I said, see, that kind of a conversation is not that good, Oh, that one. That was from TV serial. It was a TV episode which is in conversation.
It was running in the background?
Yeah, no. They were talking about a TV serial characters. So something happened in the serial, the TV show, and they're actually having conversations around it as if it's happening to them.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's like, as if Priya is my friend, I'm talking about it and somebody is opposing me. They totally owned up the thing.
So as if it's real. I mean, oh my God, has adapted it so much in their life.
Absolutely.
They're taking the part of the characters and talking about them like that.
And the characters are actually running in their head.
Yes.
I mean, very simple thing, like, this movie Bahubali. Now, why did Kattappa kill Bahubali? The script was such and he killed it. End of story. The entire country was discussing that. And one of my friends from Bangalore, he has spent 8,000 rupees for watching first day, first show.
8,000 rupees
was the ticket.
My goodness.
Right? So black market, so is to buy it at a premium price. Okay. Anyway, why I bring this up is because people consuming information, and the mind, what happens is whatever you're consuming, the mind will start owning it up.
Absolutely. It does not know the difference between real and what is happening.
And that's the reason. And now doctors also facing an interesting challenge, and that is people go through WebMD and all this thing, and they own up all the symptoms. Now you read whatever thing, they're like, oh, yeah, this is what's happening with me. So ignorance is bliss in one way, but
I agree. Yes.
Yeah, anyway, so coming back to the point that the more and more you consume your information,
yes,
the lesser and lesser you will have on the plate. And that family, or anyone from that family, for example, they would not have enough bandwidth to process in their life when a critical thing comes in, because they're wasting their emotion, they're wasting their space, they're wasting their focus on
Time,
things which
energy,
is
everything.
irrelevant.
Yes, totally irrelevant.
So
Yes.
if you are some kind of a person associated with media, or you are a producer yourself, okay, go ahead, that's your profession.
Yes.
Now, if it is not, and people watch TV and they say, hey, this is a kind of information which I don't even like, but then they don't switch it off. They just keep cursing the channel and they still see it.
Okay.
As in, I don't like this. Nowadays, this is all in the family time. It's not good at all. And they just keep seeing it. The reason is that people got used to consuming information.
Right.
So the first thing, if really somebody want to take their focus to the next level or the mind to the next level, the first thing is stop consuming things which you don't need in life.
Yes.
Or minimize your consumption of information.
Yes.
Because every thought is an expense.
Hmm.
And people use the energy, like the most vital energy, for insignificant things. Like, should I wear black socks or blue socks? 15 minutes thinking about it. Should I drink brew coffee or continental coffee? People spend a lot of time. See, that is not the thing of consequence.
Yes.
Now, what happens is, when I'm spending so much time, emotion, things on that, when I need something which I really want in my life, I will not have bandwidth.
Yes.
So
I'm drained by that time.
You become drained, absolutely.
Yes.
Drained of those skills,
Yes.
those core areas. So
Yes.
the first thing you need to do is minimize that. And I do some crazy things in my life. I don't ask people to do it, but then I can tell what kind of things I do. For the last probably 24 years, I have not been watching TV, zero TV.
Even I don't have a television at home. I don't have a television.
Best. And the second thing is, I have not been reading newspaper for almost like 13, 14 years already. I'm totally on news diet. And because what happens in the news is, like, basically it has already been done.
Yes,
over.
yes.
The moment it comes to you, is like it's already done. You don't have a
Yes.
say. But anyway, so that's
And most of it is negative, creating
All of it.
fear, creating anger.
Absolutely. And you have used a right word. Whenever you go through any negative emotion, it can be anger, fear, jealousy, or any branded negative emotion, it will actually drain these resources faster.
Absolutely. I agree.
So it's always good to keep yourself away from the negativity. That's very, very important. So that's the reason why I don't watch news. So point number one is, stay away from the information you don't need.
Don't need. Yes.
If you need, by all means, go ahead and do it. And don't consume information for the sake of consuming.
For the sake of consuming. Yes.
So mindlessly don't do it. But if you really want to watch something, go ahead and watch. It's okay, absolutely fine. But you have to do it consciously.
Yes.
People unconsciously do it. So the whole idea is to do consciously. The second thing which I would recommend as a strategy is, I call it as limit your attention. So have you ever been into a situation where, you suddenly, you're doing something and then, hey, why am I thinking about Paris? Or why I'm thinking about something unrelated? People get through that and they find for triggers, oh, is there anything reminding me of Paris here? And they don't find anything. So this happens a lot with people. And one of the reasons why it happens is because of the eyes starts processing every damn thing which they see. As it, the brain will process whatever the eye sees. For example, this is my office room, and then there's a picture of a calendar on which there's snow picture, image of snow. There's nothing there. I'm just making it up. Okay. So I am typing out an email, and suddenly I lift my head and look at the snow. The mind starts associating information so rapidly. So Christmas party, rum cake, rum, Major Varma, war, Vietnam.
Oh my God.
So in a fraction of second or a
You have reached
nanosecond,
from somewhere to somewhere.
I've reached Vietnam. And I'll be saying, oh, why on the planet am I thinking about Vietnam now? And this happens so fast that you can't even relate it that fast. So ideally, what should happen is, if you're working on something, please make sure that visually things should not get into your eyes which are not related to the activity at hand. Example, like, I'm talking to you, and let's say there's a sanitizer bottle right in front of me, and it's half done, or a little bit is only a little bit left. So my mind will not keep it. Say, okay, I have to order on Amazon.
Right.
The moment I think of Amazon, I think of Jeff Bezos. then I think of divorce, then I think of Johnny Depp, then I think of Pirates of Caribbean. It takes a nanosecond or part of a nanosecond to go from the sanitizer to the Pirates of Caribbean, and I don't even know
Amazing.
why it has happened.
Yes.
And this
Yes.
is how things happen. So, have you heard people saying that the mind is like a monkey?
Oh, yes. Always monkey mind.
Monkey mind, yes. So I would say when you agree that mind is like a monkey, don't give it branches.
Yes.
The more branches you give, the faster it will run away. What all it
Yes.
needs is just a small thing to get out. So
Small thing, small. A twig it
very small.
requires, not even a branch.
Yeah, not even a branch. Even a twig is good enough. The mind can manage everything.
Yes.
In Hindi they say "अक्लमंद को इशारा ही काफी है."
Ah,
So you're talking to akal.
yes. Yes.
Even twig is too big for the mind.
Yeah.
So this is the second thing, is limiting your attention. So when you have an activity at hand,
Mm-hmm.
make sure that nothing related to I mean, if something is not related to the activity at hand, it should be, if it is away from your visual arena, that makes a lot of sense. So maybe some of the students are watching this show, so let's say they're reading geography example,
Mm-hmm.
and they have a math book which is visible to them. They're reading geography and then they look at maths and say, oh, Thursday's maths examination,
Right.
and then everything will trigger. So they're missing out on what they're actually supposed to do.
Right.
So even this kind of a small trigger is good enough to kick people out of the present. So that's one thing. And one other thing which I have figured out is that people don't take a conscious decision to focus, or they don't have a conscious intent to focus. See, I have a desire to do something, but then the intent is like, it has to be in the mind actively when the act is being done. For example, I'll tell you. So I have been in Delhi for a very long time, and I've seen people from all over the country. People go to Delhi for preparing for civils.
Right. Yes.
So they have a very good dream, and there's some people who sell their lands and then they go there from
Right.
smaller towns, right?
Yes.
They have a big dream, they go there. And interestingly, even though they have a big dream, the intent is missing when they're listening to the lecture or when they're being there. It is not alive, it's not visible, or it's not in the conscious level. And they go to a lecture and then they go to cafeteria and they see they're making samosa, and oh, this guy is making 20 rupees per samosa profit. Oh, that means if I can make this, I'll become a millionaire. And there are people who went with an idea to do civils, and they have got hotel chains set up in Delhi. I've got one of my friends, he has got a chain of 3 hotels. He said that I wanted to came to Delhi for getting into civils. I don't regret, but then I've got a hotels, 3 hotels I've got. He started with the restaurant and then he changed it to 3 hotels. Now, is it a failure or not? I'm not even talking about that. What I'm just talking is, people miss out on the intent. When they go there, something else comes in and it just misses out, and they start focusing on something else. So I mean, there's a lot of times people tell me that, Mr. Anant, what when my teacher is telling me something, I remember, but then I don't remember for a long time. Even though I'm paying attention, I don't remember. Or there's some people who say, I meet people, but I don't remember the names.
Right.
So ask them a simple question. Hey, look, when is the last time, assuming a student, okay, that you have been attending so many webinars and classrooms, and you've been reading books. How many times did you actually tell yourself, before you even open your book, consciously, the word is consciously, tell yourself that I want to remember what I am reading or what I'm about to read? People hardly do that. They just open it, as a matter of fact, read it and close it, and they assume that they got it.
Right.
They meet people, they assume that they have to remember, because I've heard the name, I should remember.
Right.
No, because you've heard, you will not remember. Because if you have an intent, you will qualify to remember, not even guaranteed.
Yes.
Because when the intent is there, you will work towards it. If it's just a desire or a dream, it doesn't just work.
Yes.
So the thing is, before you start any activity, having the intent will actually build up an invisible defense against distraction.
Right.
For example, I have an intent that I want to finish off my Excel sheet in the next 25 minutes. I have an intent about it. Somebody comes up and says, hey, Anand, can we go for a coffee? I would say, okay, can we do it at 4:30, please?
Right.
But if I don't have an intent, I'm doing an email, somebody comes and, hey, come, let's go for a coffee. Oh, yeah. Let's go.
Yeah. True.
Because everything will become a distraction.
Yes.
The moment you know your why, the moment you have an intent.
Yes.
So it is not like lifelong intent. The next 10 minutes, what am I supposed to do?
Yes.
If I'm clear about it, I'll be saved for the 10 minutes.
Yes.
So that's where the focus can be guarded very easily. And when the focus is there, things will be better. You'll be in charge actually. So these are a couple of things which can be done. And one more thing which can really help in people to focus and also remember. That's like a double-edged sword, which can be worked in the benefit, your own benefit, is that I call it as event recall. Event recall. So what I mean by that is every day in everybody's life there are a lot of events which happen. So event need not be a very event kind of an event. So let me define what's an event. Event is a very small thing. I take my dog for a walk is an event. I go to Haldiram's for a lunch is an event for me.
Yes.
I drive down 20 kilometers is an event. I'm on this show is an event.
Right.
I talk to my mom for 15 minutes about upcoming wedding is an event. Right. So there are so many events which happen to people in their life. So what I recommend is in the life as in one day. Yeah. So what I recommend people is, hey, whenever you're transiting from one event or the event is over, simply stop and ask yourself, what has just happened?
Okay.
So what did I converse? What did the client say? What did Haldiram serve me in dinner? Just think about what did I watch in the Netflix? Just think about it. Now, just by doing this, you'll be amazed. Your focus and memory will go to the next level. Now, let me explain the logic behind it. Now, what happens is after the people have left their official schooling, there's no such thing as test in life. So there's no accountability, right? Nobody will ask me, Anant, what have you done today?
Yes.
I would simply ask, how are you bothered? Nobody would ask me that question, right?
Correct.
So what happens is the mind is not being accountable for capturing information. So you're saying something, I say, okay, all right, I will do that. And then I go back and I don't even remember anything. So when I ask, hey, what did I talk to Anshu? If I think about it, then, every time I do this kind of thing, what did happen when I went to the market? Now, what did I talk to the security guard? If I'm thinking about it, the mind will get an notice. It's put on notice, I want you to be here. Otherwise, what happens is I am talking to you. At the same time, I'm thinking of checking off my travel checklist for my holiday next week. My mind is not even here. But then after the interview is over, if I say, hey, let me recollect what has happened just now, at least I will realize that I was not here.
Right.
Because I could not recall anything. Then the next time I'll become better. So you'll be amazed just by doing this one small thing, your memory also will go to the next level. Now, why the memory will go to the next level? One is because you're focusing, you're trying to recall. Second thing is memory is all about recalling.
Yes.
How many times you bring out the information, that's all memory about. So, so if you want to complete one memory cycle, it's something like you get the information in and when you pull it out, one cycle is done. So if you are able to pull out the information now, you will be able to maybe pull out in the future also.
Right.
But if you're not able to pull out the information right now, in future, you will never be able to pull out information. So what is happening is, in a day, several times, you're stopping yourself and you're trying to pull out the information.
Right. What happened just now?
What happened just now?
Yes.
Yeah. Even if you can do it for a couple of times, 5 times in a day is also more than enough. Now, if I don't do that, now, while I'm pulling out this information, I cannot be thinking of my travel checklist. While I'm pulling out this information, I cannot be thinking of, oh, tomorrow is my meeting. So I have to be here. So I'm forcing myself to be in the present. I'm forcing myself to activate my recall. I'm forcing myself to listen to the next time at least. Because I'm aware that I'm not able to listen last time. So this will all put together and this small thing can take people to the next level. It looks very simple and it's so amazingly powerful. And for the listeners, I just want to say something which I've heard from one of my mentors is that whatever is simple to do is also simple not to do.
Yeah.
All right.
True.
So this is very simple to do, but don't get into a state where don't try it out, but try it out, you will amaze yourself. So this is like another simple stuff which people can do. Of course, there are a lot of things, but then, this thing will actually also help in instantly you can see the result also. Yeah.
I also had heard you talk about, what you have put in is not necessarily going to come out. I mean,
Yes.
when people go to write their exams, they have mugged up things, or maybe they have understood and done things.
Right.
But when they are asked to kind of do the viva and say things,
Right.
it not they are used to putting the things in, but not putting it out. So
Yes.
could you explain that concept also a bit?
Absolutely. So, because you talked about the student, we'll start from there, and the same problem is copy pasted in the adult life also.
Right.
It's nothing different. So, what happens if you just look at? I mean, no offense to anybody, no blame, and just saying what's happening. Okay. Simple thing, like people they think that let me read 5 times, let me read 3 times. Let's say if I have a problem in Newton's laws of motion.
Right.
So simple advice my friend, anybody would give is read it 5 times.
Yes.
So
Correct.
I read it 5 times. So the whole concept behind it, that's what I think their concept is. You put it 1 time, 2nd time, 3rd time, 4th time, okay, and 1 bonus time. So it's like a layered cake. It is there inside,
Yes.
and it's very, very strong.
Yes.
Let's assume that it is there. But when you are a teacher and you ask me to write down or ask me to speak about Newton's laws of motion, you are typically asking me to pull out the information. Whereas my whole practice has been in putting in.
Right.
So the game has changed already there. And this is the reason why a lot of times people say, oh, I remember that thing, but I'm not able to pull it out.
Yes. It's not coming on the tongue. It's slipping out of the tongue.
Yes. They call it tip of the tongue syndrome.
Yes.
It's there, but it's not coming out.
Yes.
Because it is never practiced. We never practice to bring it out. Now, see, in the student level, what happens is they're reading today, whatever they're learning, they read, and they recall 2 weeks later or 3 months later in the examination. First recall is always critical and difficult. The first recall is always difficult. If you put it like terms of internet kind of a thing, which is easy to as a metaphor. So let's say you go into a website and there's a high resolution picture, you click it, and assuming that the net is very slow, so it loads slowly, it loads. Okay, once it is done, so you click it off and then you click on the image again, it comes very fast. So in layman's language, your computer knows how to go into www and bring out the information. Right. Because it has already done it.
Right.
The first time is difficult, but technically speaking, it's called cache memory. So because it's downloaded, so it's there in the cache. So next time it is not going and searching everywhere. Right. It's just pulling out from here.
Right.
Because it is already pulled from the cache. It's easier.
It has a local access now.
It has a local access, exactly right. So typically put it, so whatever you're absorbing from any sense, maybe my teacher is saying something, I am reading, you're talking something, my dad giving some advice, my uncle saying something, my principal saying something, so a lot of things coming in. So that's all landing in something of my www. I know it somewhere, it's there, yes, my dad gives some advice, I read about Newton, yes, all this thing. But whatever I recall, that will come from the cache memory into my from the www into my cache. So next time I'll be able to recall from here, which is very, very fast because I don't have to access. For a lot of people, what happens is the first recall is done in the war zone. Example, I read Pythagoras theorem today and 5 days later or 15 days later, there's a test. So I try to recall what I've read 15 days back. It's not easy because I have to go and, life happens, there are a lot of things which are there. It's not even concrete. It's not even concrete yet. So I have to pull out from the information, and sometimes I say, "Oh, I'm lost." And have you heard people saying, "My mind went blank"?
Yes.
And the same people will also tell you, "Oh, I came out of the examination hall. I recalled most of it."
Instantly, I recalled.
Instantly, also. The reason is there are 2 reasons. Of course, one is linked to anxiety, which is also a focus issue. The second thing is the mind has started working because it's the first recall. It will take ample time because it is difficult to bring it out, search and bring it out. But if you could have recalled at the time of learning itself, this recall would have been much faster.
So while when as a student, for example, I'm trying to remember some maybe I'm reading history.
Okay.
And I'm trying to understand when was Aurangzeb born and this, that. We used to have a tendency of then, putting our hands on the answer and then say that once again, or maybe 2 3 times, 3 times, and then move on to the next question. Again, memorize it, and again put my hands. That was one practice.
Right.
Second was, some people used to always write down the answers. So I have done all my learning. I have memorized everything. Now I take a notepad and a pen and I start writing the answers to every question. Those people used to have a better recalling capacity, people who used to write it down.
Yeah. I'll tell you the reason behind it.
Yeah.
The reason is, again, why you're writing is also a reason behind it. See, any act by itself is neither good nor bad, useful or useless. The intent behind it. So just put simply, let's say there's a guy and I take my kitchen fork and stab him 37 times mercilessly and kill him. He's dead now. So according to law, what should happen to me? Maybe, 2 lifetimes, or phansi, or hang to death.
Death, hang till death, whatever.
Yeah, but probably I can even be given a president's medal if that guy was an armed terrorist.
Yes,
in that case. I killed him 37 times with a kitchen knife. I would become the hero of India in the next moment.
Yes.
So the act of killing doesn't mean anything.
Yes, by itself it doesn't mean anything.
It doesn't mean anything. So why?
The intent
writing, the intent is what is going to design the result, and that's the reason I said that you have to intend what you want.
Yes.
First start with the intent. Okay. Now coming back to why people write, there are people who write, oh, if I don't write, I think I'll forget.
Right.
Those people, it's a wrong thing. They should not write it, because they're writing it, they'll forget it.
Oh, even after writing, there is a chance that you will forget it.
They will actually forget, because they are writing it out of the fear.
Out of fear, they are doing
so just let me give an example. So you have seen in general life, like corporate or executives life, or people like us, somebody want to go to a market and get 5 or 10 things in the market to buy shopping list, not fancy thing, but then a specific kind of I want to make a recipe, or I'm traveling, so I want to get this 5 things. What most people do is they write down on a sheet of paper.
On a sheet of paper.
And you ask them, why are you writing this list? 99% would say, I'm helping their memory.
Yes, I'll forget.
I'll
forget. Yeah, even if I forget one item, it will be a cumbersome thing. Yeah.
Absolutely. So that's what they are writing.
Right.
And you take down their paper and ask them, they probably don't even remember one. The reason is, when you write down, you're telling your mind, hey, I don't trust you anyways. I've got more belief on the sheet of paper, so you shut. Let me write it down.
Okay.
And the mind says, okay, go ahead. So because you have written it down, you will not remember it. And the proof for that is, olden days, people used to remember a lot of numbers because there's no other way than to remember them.
Right.
Now it's like, oh, what's your number? 316911842. Okay, done.
Correct.
Because it is there, I don't have to remember it.
I don't have to remember.
That's what the instruction goes to the mind, which is wrong.
Yes.
And that's the reason why when you write with that intent, you'll forget it. Now the other part is, writing actually helps, but if you have that right understanding about it.
Yes.
If you're writing for concentration, if you're writing for accessing information, if you're writing for organizing, it's the best thing. And why those people whom you said, there are a lot of people who write also, then they don't remember as well. They'll come back and say, okay, I've done it 5 times writing, but I still don't remember. And those are people from the first category which I told you.
Right.
And the second category is that when they write down with an objective of learning, with the objective of absorbing or practice,
or putting it in their muscle memory.
Exactly, that's where it works. And why writing has got an advantage is because I think writing is the only skill which is like very powerful in the ways. Okay, let's say, can you think of something while watching something else? Possible. You are hearing to something, but you can think of something else.
Yes.
Possible. But when you're writing something,
you can't think of anything
something else. If you think, the moment you think of something else, your pen will stop.
Pen will stop. That is true.
At least physically, you will know that you are not doing it.
Yes.
Otherwise, after 20 minutes of trip somewhere, I don't even know that I've taken a mind trip.
Yes.
Okay, so this is one advantage. The second advantage of writing is its solid advantage. So if somebody is writing, they're not taking a dictation. They're actually processing. So first thing, they're listening. Because they have an intent to write, they are listening. If I don't have even intent to learn, you're saying something, so, that's what is happening with the students a lot of the time.
Yes.
They're just listening because they're listening, that's it. But then if I'm writing, my intent is completely different. So I'm listening. Not only I'm listening, I'm working with the information and I'm crunching it. Not only I'm crunching it, I'm actually pulling out the information and putting it onto the paper. Not only that, I'm physically writing. And not only that, I'm visually seeing it.
Right.
So many senses are working together.
Yes.
So many senses working together. And when so many senses are together working on writing, you can't be thinking about, will I get tickets for tomorrow's movie or not? You cannot. So because you're disabling everything by writing, writing becomes a very powerful tool. But again, the intent has to be very clear.
Yes.
And the same thing happens with the adults also. So the same kind of a thing. Now, if you there also, okay, a quick tip for the students is every reading session should end with a recall session. Otherwise, you better go and watch Harry Potter. It's more fun. If you don't recall right now, you will not have access to the information later on.
Right.
And by the way, Harry Potter, trigonometry, world geography, we have emotion towards it. For the brain, it is just information.
Right.
It's just information anyways. Okay. Coming back to this. So if you can actually do some kind of a recall instantly, that will be a very good learning. And come back into corporate, come back into adults' life. Now the same thing happens. Any information which you get in, recall instantly. And that is what I told about event recall.
Yeah.
You had a conversation with a client, and as you're going towards the car, just think about what has happened. So because you have to do that, and it's been a practice, you will be in the present moment talking to the client. You're actually there. Your mind is not somewhere else,
Right.
So that's where it's like a training. So this simple, very simple thing will fix the major problem which people have. One of the major problems, I can say. So they can always see the result instantly by doing this small activity. Either in academics or in corporate, it's the same thing. It's just the mind operating in the same fashion, Yeah.
And in fact, I've also heard it many a times that rather than typing on the computer, if you actually write it with hand, it stays better.
Absolutely. So it's the same thing like spending money with the card and spending money with cash. Because if you just swipe, it doesn't make any sense. There's no feeling there.
Yes.
Now try to buy an iPhone with cash. You'll feel as if somebody has taken a part of your life. So I tried, iPhone 5 when it got launched, it was about 55,000. Right. So my friend said that I can get it for cheaper, and then I said okay. Then he said okay, get me cash.
Right.
For whatever reason, so I went to the bank, and those days is like 100,000 rupee notes were available.
Yes.
So withdrawn 1,000, and he said that I can give it for 45,000. Right. I said okay. I went to his house, and he asked me, "Oh, Anand, did you get the cash?" I said yes, Tushar. So he said, okay, Anand, you just wait here. Let me go to the store and get it for you. So he's a very good friend of mine. He said, okay, wait in my house. I said, sure, Tushar, no problem. So I took out the money and I was counting. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 23, 24.
The heart is coming out.
Absolutely. I said, I didn't even complete the counting. I just put back and put in my pocket. And then this guy said, okay, Anand, where's the cash? I said, yeah, Tushar, you know what? Suddenly I realized that, this guy has put in a check. I told him to put in later. So it's going to come to the bank. It'll hit the bank tomorrow. So let me put this money back and I'll come back to you later. This is anytime, Anand, but bring cash. I said, okay. And I took a cab from there right to place Nehru Place. I was staying in Delhi. So I went to Nehru Place and I purchased a Motorola E5, 9,999 rupees. It was like, I always tell people, it exactly does the same thing the iPhone does. But no offense to the iPhone. But the point here is, when you do something with a cash, it is so expensive.
Yes.
That's why in casinos, you have plastic coins. 5 lakhs, you just throw like that. But 5 lakh currency, you can't put it.
Yes.
Same goes with the typing and writing. If you're typing, people can type looking at somewhere. It's a mechanical thing. Whereas if you want to write, you have to put your mind, heart, soul, everything into it.
Yes.
So that's the difference there.
Yes. Yeah. Amazing. So when we spoke a lot about memory and focus. Now, when it comes to reading skill, Jim Quick actually made it very famous in India, at least as far as I know, because no one was talking about reading skills and all before, that you should read fast in less time and retain more. So why is reading skills so important?
Okay, great. So but let me also tell you something interesting. So I have been personally doing this stuff for 26 years.
But you didn't market yourself the way Jim Quick did.
Of course, that's a marketing game. But anyway, at the end of the day, everything is that. But what I want to tell you is, even after 26 years of me doing it, Jim Kick doing it, or anybody, this in the market. Okay, at least I am doing it for 26 years, and my dad has been there for some more years. And every time I meet somebody, you know what's the first thing they say? Wow, we never heard anything like this.
Right.
I did a program in Nestle Malaysia, and the national HR director was there, and he was there, a very senior guy, almost like 20 years plus in the HR domain itself. He's the national HR head. And when I first met him, he said, "Wow, Anand, this is amazing. I never heard anything like this in my life."
True.
So the
I
thing
agree.
is, it is not been popularized, even though there's a lot of stuff happening. People are unaware because they're so busy in life finding how much insurance did Priyanka Chopra's cat have, all this kind of stuff. They're very busy being very busy, you know. So the things which they need, they don't get. And you know, I'll tell you one thing which may look very not related, but very very amusing. You know, again, no offense to anybody, and this is coming from corporate people, not even students. And this is definitely not making fun of them. I'm really concerned what is happening in life. You know, the questions. The question is like, you know, oh, you know, Mr. Anand, I have got this peculiar problem. Yeah, okay, tell me, sir, what about it? He says, you know, I'm very seriously typing a very, you know, important email, and this very Facebook sends a message. And the moment I reply it back, it will take 20-25 minutes to come back. It's so difficult to come back once I reply on the Facebook. What should I do? And you know what's the answer? Deactivate the Facebook, for God's sake.
Yeah, I mean, it's commonsensical, isn't it?
It's common sense, actually. But the problem is, people have no bandwidth even to think that.
To think that, yes.
They're actually stuck and asking me a question. What should I do if the Facebook is disturbing me? Shut it down, for God's sake. This is the real question I always get students to ask it anyways. But senior people ask. Why? Is because they have no bandwidth at all. Oh, the dollar rate is going down, the traffic is higher, the food rate is gone up, my kids' admission in college, my office thing, income tax is coming up, this, the entire thing is messed up.
Loaded up in the mind.
Loaded up. So when the mind is so much loaded, you can't even see small things.
And you miss out small things only, actually.
Absolutely. I mean, big things will anyway, they'll show up.
They will show up.
The whole idea is about being specific and conscious about the small things.
Yes.
And that's where the whole thing is missed out. So this is how the whole thing happens. And coming back to reading, the whole challenge in reading which has happened is that in spite of all the education, reading, all the things which I've done in life, we have never been given a right way to read.
Never. I don't remember ever any teacher guiding me on, how to read better.
Absolutely. So I have I have a friend of mine from Delhi. He has moved to Australia, and he has asked me, Anand, can you help me? He's probably about 70 years old, and he has been very well educated, all the degrees documented, everything there, and he still wants to read and learn at the age of 72.
Wow.
So he asked me, Anand, can you? In Australia, somehow speed reading is very popular. Okay. So he asked me, Anand, I heard that he's from India, so he's been there. So Anand asked me, can you help me with speed reading? I said, yeah, sure, sir. Then I said, before that, can I talk about some basic reading? And he was like, ha, 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 ha. I said, what happened? He said, without basic reading, do you think that I've done so many degrees? I said, no. What I mean is basic professional reading. He said, yeah, go ahead. Let's have a conversation. And I had a conversation with him about an hour time. You know what's his comment? He said, Anand, now I realize 60 years of my life is wasted in reading wrong way. So I'm not saying that people don't read or whatever thing, but the question is, are you reading right? Because we have never been shown a way, we just pick up and do whatever we want to do.
Whatever, yes.
Yeah. So example, so now you're able to see me. You're able to see me, right? So what's the guarantee that I'm actually here mentally?
Yeah, no guarantee.
There's no
guarantee at all. You might be in Paris, you might be in Delhi.
Absolutely. Right. Now the same question, when I open my book and read, what's the guarantee that I'm actually here?
No, I'm not. Our mind wanders everywhere.
Exactly. So when you don't bring the mind to the first instance here, you will not be able to read. And what generally happens with a lot of people, they start reading. And They stop and they say they are not able to understand and they want to go back and read again.
Read again, reread. I was about to say that.
So why is this happening in the first place? Is when you started reading, you as in anybody, when I start reading, my mind is not here.
You're right.
Eyes are reading, my lips are reading, I'm speaking out, but I'm thinking about my holiday in Spain or whatever thing which is going on there. And I'm reading and I come back from Spain to here very slowly. And at that moment, my understanding is active. When I am able to understand, I'll only understand one thing, that I have not understood anything.
Right.
Then I have to go back and read.
Go back and reread it. Yes.
So I'll tell you, let me give a very quick idea, which is not only for reading, which can be useful for everybody in life. And I technically call it as a transit break. So every activity which you do requires a mindset, a mind, kind of a pattern, or a way in which you have to do the thing. See, you cannot chop vegetables right now and next moment have a conference with a multimillionaire investing company. So, because chopping vegetables is a different act. Having that conversation is different. Teaching a kid is another thing. Now, let's say, for example, you're having a conversation with your corporate thing, and suddenly your kid comes and say, "Okay, mommy, teach me how the solar system works." Okay, you may be champion a solar system, but then that's not the mood and space and time.
Yes, the zone, the mental zone is different.
Absolutely. So when you transfer from one zone to another, you have to make sure the transit happens for the mind also, not just for you. So my simplest solution for this, one of the most simplest thing which you can do is apply a transit break. As in, when you do a new activity, hold on for 3 minutes, 2 to 3 minutes, just do nothing. Now that is a good enough time for the mind to compose, to get out of the previous activity and to become neutral.
Right.
And from here, you can take it over. Now, what happens is people simply pull the mind from here to here, here to here, here to there, and mind gets mind blown, and you don't understand what the hell is happening on the planet. Now, it's something like this, you're the mind basically, because of its nature, it's not stable. It is everywhere. So let me say, okay, I'm thinking about the Spain holiday. What should I be doing in the Spain holiday? And suddenly, whatever my timetable says that I have to read geography or let's say chemistry. Okay, I'm thinking about Spain holiday, and I open my book and it says H2SO4, and this is equal to this rate. What on this is a planet? What the holiday and H2SO4, there's no link. It's a rude shock for the brain. It's out of topic. Right. First, when you want to get to H2SO4, shut down Spain first. Now, from Spain, you come back to wherever you are.
Yeah, get conscious that, okay, I'm making a shift now.
Absolutely. And in that small break, magic happens. Yes. 1, you will come back to the present. 2, you can activate your intent.
Yes.
3, you can be ready with whatever things you want to do. And then you are physically, mentally, whatever way you are ready, then you make your reading, then it becomes easier. So I'll tell you a classic example. This is guy, a lawyer from Delhi, COVID time. So he has got his own office in the house, and this guy has got a baby girl. And according to him, so what happened was this guy was not doing well at all, and he's almost like bankruptcy kind of a thing. And then the baby girl happened. So this girl was born, and the entire thing changed for him. From that day onwards, he started getting good cases, a lot of money, and in a very prime locality in Delhi, they have got a house, probably about 2 crores or something like that. So it's like very well settled, and the daughter is about now 5 years old. And as per his conversation, he told me that my daughter is everything for me. If I'm alive today, it's because of her. So she's my Lakshmi, she's whatever, my inspiration, everything.
Yes.
So one day what happened was, he was in his office and there's a case which was being discussed, and then it was a serious matter. So the client was there, and probably some kind of punishment kind of a thing, like a very, very critical matter that's done, and the client leaves. And this guy, because the client is left now he has to go to the house. He opened the door and went inside the room, the next room, and this baby girl walks running towards this guy and hugs him and says, "Daddy." And then this pop, one tight slap to the girl. And then he collapsed immediately. Collapsed as in like he was in tears immediately. Now, why I'm talking about this is he did not transit from office to the house. The little baby's love actually looked like an attack. He did not even receive it first, for that matter. So because he could not close it, he was not able to act in a particular manner. And then he was like, why? I mean, it's like, how did I even do this? Even in my dream, I can never do it.
Right.
But then why he has done that is very simply, he did not transit.
Right.
If only the client leaves and he was there in the office for the next 3 minutes and then he cool down. Now the case is over. When he go back, he'll be in the present moment there.
Yes, so, that I'm home now.
Yes, because the home is different, office is different.
Yes.
You cannot be behaving as if you're in home in the office or vice versa.
Yes.
So if that transit is not done mentally, people land up in trouble. And what is happening is people have no conscious transit break available at all. Like a monkey from one thing to another thing to another thing to another. And they say, why I'm not able to do things in a good manner, even though I'm skilled, even though I'm intelligent. The thing is, you didn't transit. So you don't belong to whatever you're doing. Right. So just giving that small gap, that will amazingly, pull your resources back and put you in a direction where again you'll become more focused and you'll be able to manage distractions easily because you have activated the intent also in the break.
Yes.
So that's very powerful thing which can sort out the thing. And coming back to reading there, first of all, you have to actually activate your mind for reading or getting things done. I mean, there's another philosophy around it. So first of all, the mind actually don't like to read. Now, why? The technical reason behind that is anybody, including the mind, follows something which is called the path of least resistance. A simple question for the mind. Watching Netflix is simple or reading chemistry is simple?
Netflix is simple, of course.
Of course.
Mind does not have to do much work, no exertion.
Absolutely, no exertion. And that's where the simple choice. So the mind always looks for the simple choice. So you have to break that thing and let the mind go into that. Only then it is ready for the task. So then you read something, then it will make sense, it will not make sense. That depends on a lot of other things. But then if you're not even ready, and then people assume that, okay, I've read it, so it's done. And another biggest mistake in which happens with the kids, and it's also happening with the adults, because the same thing grow up and show up in a different angle, and I call it as mental audit. Zero mental audit. Now what I mean by that is that people open a book and they read, they close. Oh, I think I got it. Who told you I got it? Assumption. I may be thinking about Spain. I did not even probably got even single word. Just because physically I've gone through, I'm assuming that I have done because I sat down and read it. Life is being, assumed. And the same thing happening with people. They'll come back and say, oh, Anant, I actually read this book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, but then I don't remember anything out of it. Did you even check whether you remembered it in the first place? Without even that, people start complaining. So the thing is, when you spend some time on something, after that is over, just check what has really happened. That will actually make it very, very clear for you. Were you there? Were you not there? You absorbed, you did not absorb, you will become aware. So suddenly if I say, hey, I don't remember anything, then I'll say, oh, because I was thinking about Spain.
Right.
Oh, now let me go back and read without Spain.
Right.
At least I'll be aware. Or next time I read, okay, I'll be aware that, oh, if I think of something, I'm not getting result. So people's awareness is very important. Yes. So this transit also will help in awareness and asking this question, am I really ready here? When you have the intent, this thing also will fall in place. Yeah, that also helps in reading. And you asked why reading is important, because I believe that reading is one of the most important and the most easiest access to learning and information. So there's a very good saying. People say that there are only 3 ways of learning. One is people you meet, places you visit, books you read. And the books are the cheapest resources. If you want to go to some other country, you might spend about 5,000 to 25,000 rupees at least.
Yes.
But you want to pick up a book, 200 rupees.
Yes.
You can download the DNA of maybe Bill Gates.
Yes.
But if I don't read that book, I can maybe get that from my own learning, maybe in the next 25, 30, 40 years or next life.
Yes.
But then this
True.
200 rupees will be like an investment,
Yes.
and it's the easiest thing to do. So if
Yes.
one is able to read better and read good books, their progress will be much higher and they'll easily become limitless, because
Yes.
the books is the knowledge bank.
Yeah.
Of course, people in places, they are not, they are irreplaceable, but books you can always make it a primary thing. So reading
Yeah.
becomes very important. Yeah.
Interesting. Amazing. And you are also into mind mapping as well.
Yes, I do mind mapping myself, but I don't teach mind mapping as such. But then mind mapping is a very interesting way of taking down, and a very interesting thing is Tony Buzan is the organizer for is the originator of mind mapping. And I had I would say I was very fortunate to talk to him several times, meet him, go for a lunch, go for a dinner.
Wow.
And that was a different context, but then we are talking about all this mind stuff. The context was like Tony Buzan actually also is the organizer of World Memory Championships.
Okay.
He used to organize World Memory Championships, and I was organizing the Malaysian National Memory Championships.
Right.
So I was a part of something called as Malaysian Mental Literacy Movement. So that organization has invited Tony Buzan as one of the speakers.
Okay.
So then we have a conversation that, I'm doing this kind of a thing. Then he has seen all the rules, regulations, and he says, this is fantastic. And then we, like, every time Tony Buzan used to come to Malaysia, we'd have either catch up with him, go for a lunch, go for dinner, chit chat on the mind stuff. So that was very, very interesting. So I find that like it's an amazing thing which has happened to me. So I got that access thing. But then of course it's very good. But I don't teach as professionally. I don't teach, but I recommend mind mapping for it's a very comprehensive brain tool. So people can leverage on a lot of things, on note taking, decision making. All those things can be worked out by mind mapping. Yeah.
What are a few of the benefits? As you said, helps in note taking.
Yeah,
and
decision making.
Decision making.
Summarizing. Brainstorming. Lot of things actually. And if you can add a layer of focus to mind mapping, it will become super powerful.
Right.
Anything you add a focus to everything.
Anything. Actually.
And you know what? I would also say this, that anytime ever people get into an accident, it can be tripping down, or it can be you put a cup somewhere and it actually there's nothing there and it falls down, or say something which should not be said, or didn't say something which you intended to say, or meet with an accident or whatever thing. All these things have happened probably because of a lapse of focus for a moment or extended periods. So lack of focus actually creates a stress in life, and it puts people at situations they should not be in.
They should not be in.
Yeah. And I'm not here to tell you that if you have focus you have zero problems, but I can definitely tell you, if you have a good focus, you'll be having very less problems. You'll spend less time in correcting the mistakes. You'll have lesser stress. You'll have more access to yourself.
Yes.
So working on focus becomes it's a magical thing which will happen to anybody, whatever field they are in. Focus becomes one primary tool to work on. Yeah.
Amazing. So what are your, how do you do this? Do you have like courses, or do you do it live with people? You have training programs? You do it with individuals, or you do it with groups? How is it?
Okay, great. So I work on all the formats. So I work with individuals, I work with groups, I do corporate training. So last week I was in Delhi. I was conducting a workshop for one of the very big company in real estate, which is called RRPL. So I've done some workshops for the senior management there and also the middle management there. So I do workshops in the corporate, and I also do my own public workshops. Like people can come and join my programs. So they are either both online and offline as well. And apart from that, for people who want to take it to the next level, I also do one-on-one sessions.
Okay.
And I work with the education industries as well as in the students also. So one of my major help I do for people who are doing competitive exams.
Right.
Because they have to read a lot of stuff, but the major complaint which people have is the kind of effort I'm putting in, the result is not matching.
Not matching.
Correct. And they think that there's something wrong with them. There's nothing wrong with anybody.
Right.
Now what is wrong is the process, and the process is not being told ever. So I help in filling that gap where people can have a process around and they can get their academics good, whatever they're doing in their life, they can be very powerful. So I work with all kinds of groups. And other thing I also do is I do a lot of work for associations, kind of a thing. Like it can be kind of a Rotary or uh, plastic manufacturers association, things like that. The
Okay.
reason is that that's kind of a give back also, where I can talk to a lot of people, make them
Mhm.
aware. People, I don't it's really hard to see people coming and saying that I've never heard something like this.
Right.
There's this powerful thing available, and if they can
Mm.
access even a little bit of it, it's
Yes.
good. So
Yes.
that's one thing which is there, and one of my main objective is to bring this information to as many people as possible. And I should thank you for having me here, because this is helping me to reach out to more people whom I cannot reach out
Absolutely.
personally.
Absolutely.
So that's the reason why I also work with groups where there are a lot of people. It's kind of a talks, a short talks, or modules which are like a half a day, one day, depending. And I also do a lot of customized programs actually, so that,
Okay.
because no two people will have the same challenge.
Same challenge.
I mean,
So
two
are
sim-
there any, you must be having like levels, like level 1, level 2 kind of a thing?
yeah, I do have kind of levels, but every level is independent as well.
Okay.
Yeah, so people can. There's no end. See, I mean, when you want to go into one field, there's absolutely no end to where you can go. It's basically
Right.
limitless. It's like an ocean. The
Right.
more deeper you go, you'll find that there's something more.
Right.
So you can start somewhere and you can play around it, and then when you're ready, you'll be ready, and you'll know that you are ready for it. And there's no point in getting the entire thing in one shot, because people will not be able to chew it either. So always start with a small thing, get some result, play around, experiment, and then you say, hey, this is working for me. So now
Right.
let me step up.
Right.
So anytime people want to step up, I have some content for them,
Right.
because I have been doing this for 26 years. So there's no depth of content.
Right. Right.
So
And
that's the
India
whole
should
idea.
be putting out Anant as India's gym pick. The answer to that, you should start marketing yourself.
Yes. So
See,
it
you
has
are
already
there
started.
and we don't know about you and we know about him, which is not good. We should know about
Absolutely.
you.
And thanks for doing your bit there in bringing out. So I really appreciate that.
It's an absolute pleasure. So, any last message, Anant, you have for people who are watching you right now?
Yes. Only one thing I would like to share is that, a lot of times people use phrases and things which actually don't mean anything. Like, example, one of my friend is, he went to a movie thing and he did not get the ticket. And he says, I'm depressed.
Right.
Now, what do you mean by depressed? Depressed is a clinical term.
It's a very big word.
It's like 29 things you have to check off psychologically then.
Yes.
And people having headache, they say, oh, I have a migraine.
Yes. Yes.
So please don't jump into that, at least in the space of mind. So, I've seen people like, they attend a seminar, class, webinar, come back and say, Anand, something wrong with me. I can't remember anything which she has told. Oh, were you even there in the first place? Not even there. So people, without knowing the things, they actually come and make. I'll just take one example, classic example. And this guy got referred from one of my friend, and he says that my son has got some problem, some psychological problem, psychiatric problem. He cannot remember. Da, 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 da. Like 35 minutes. It was on and on. I said, hello. First, hold on. Check the basic thing first. No, no, no. He's not able to focus anything. And then whatever I was saying, it was not getting into his head.
Right. Right.
Then
Close.
it's very closed. That he's really having some problem.
Yes.
He's
Yes.
having some problem. He's decided like that.
Decided.
Decided. So I asked him. I was like, how do I tell this guy? Then, and I'm a fan of Harry Potter.
Right.
Okay. So I asked him, and because I had this sort of magic and I was also a magician, so that link is there, that connects.
Yes.
So I asked, is your kid into Harry Potter? He said, yes, very much. So I said, does he remember the spells in Harry Potter? He said he's crazy about them. I don't know, whatever he talks about, 50, 60 spells. He says that to lift the phone, he has to say this.
Yes,
and,
yes. Even my daughter does that. My daughter also remembers these spells and she will be like, this is to make move in Laviosa, some Lavios.
Yeah. So
you should be lifted up.
Absolutely. So for everything, there's a spell, and this guy knows every damn thing, and he can remember all of them.
Yes.
Said, hold on there. If he can remember 50 spells, and if he is not able to remember Newton's laws of motion, there is nothing wrong with memory, for God's sake.
Yes.
Then he's like, oh,
Oh,
I
I
never
never
thought like
thought about this.
I never thought
Yeah.
about it, because what people do is they just equate not getting results with something wrong with me.
Yes. He's
Not getting,
focusing only on the problem.
yeah,
Uh,
exactly. So
hmm.
the thing is, you cannot. I mean, I have a very personal kind of a statement. Is it okay to make that statement?
Yes, yes.
So I believe that everybody should believe either in God or in nature. If you don't believe in God, absolutely okay. Okay, in the Zoom call, there's no access to God, so we'll keep the God away. It's okay, absolutely no problem. Then believe in nature, at least one, at least one. So I believe in two. That's my major problem. That's my problem. We'll leave it. But why I'm talking about this is, if you either believe in God or in nature, you should understand that neither the God nor the nature will create a substandard product.
Yes.
So don't
True.
ever come and tell anybody that my creativity is not good, my memory is not good, my focus is not
Yes.
good. Not done. Everything is there. The question is, are you using it in the right manner?
Have you actually, yeah,
Leveraged it.
you're not able to unleash that from within yourself. Yes.
Absolutely. So there's a story of, the Benz car being tugged by horses.
Hmm.
So they're not unleashing the horsepower which is already in the engine. Then you cannot complain.
Yes.
So the question is, did you bring out the thing?
Yes.
So the whole idea is, have an open mind and understand that there's nothing wrong.
Yes.
Sit down and see what went, because the audit is never done. People assume ki, oh, something wrong now.
Hmm.
Oh, I heard. And sometimes people come and say, oh, I cannot remember. So based on the intense, intimacy and the relation which I have with the person, I ask them, what the hell did you do to make sure that you remember? This is
Hmm.
nothing. Then if you do nothing, you'll get nothing, of course.
Yes, absolutely.
So that's what people are missing out on. So try out things, and there's a lot of content available everywhere, and focus cannot be a it's not a problem there. It's just that lack of understanding. When you understand, you are truly limitless.
Hmm.
We are born limitless, actually.
We are born limitless. In fact, the
And
name of the show, I keep repeating it every now and then. It came from realizing that I was underestimating my own potential all my life, thinking that, I could never be probably as successful as some person
absolutely
and then I realized that no, I have it all within me. It's just that I'm not accessing it.
perfect. And when you have focus, when you can work on focus, you'll suddenly have so much access that you'll truly become limitless, and you can feel it, actually.
Yes.
So repeating my statement again, only in the present moment you'll have unlimited and uninterrupted access
Yes.
to yourself. So
Yes.
yeah,
And that is almost like accessing God.
yeah, you can say
That
that.
moment.
You can
Yes.
say that,
Yes.
because that is all about available.
Yes.
Nothing more.
Right.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Thank you so much, Anant. It was a
Thanks for having me.
powerful session. It, like horsepower, as you said, so it has tremendous horsepower. And a person who is really watching this with intent and that focus, I'm sure they would take away a lot from here.